This makes me feel absolutely immortal by making enemies an infinite healing supply. This is the easiest and most forgiving build I have ever tried. So players of any skill level can have infinite healing, but I will also show you how to unleash its potential devastation. At the start of the season, I was testing changes to a lot of the high damage builds with self-heals, but they all either left you feeling helpless if the boss mechanics messed up your ability rotation or caused you to lose key buffs. So I kept testing, and I immediately realized I had zero problem staying alive with Karnstein. But first, we need to understand the cornerstone of this build. Karnstein Armlet's exotic perk is Vampire's Caress. This causes melee kills to grant Cure ×3 and Restoration ×1 for 8 seconds. The melee effect can be triggered on powered and unpowered melees, as well as glaive melees. But the real beauty is that finishers grant the same amount of Cure and Restoration ×2 for 8 seconds. The real key to this exotic synergy in this build is that the healing is now tied to Solar 3.0 terms as of Season 23. So when you use this exotic in a Solar build, specifically one which uses Ember of Empyrean, you can extend the duration of restoration indefinitely. But the best part is there's no ability rotation and or management required to obtain restoration that you can mess up. There is zero cooldown on Karnstein Armlet's healing perk, so it is always accessible. There is no other class or build that gives you so many ways to obtain and maintain Resto ×2. Really, the only things that don't refresh Resto ×2 are other element kills. Speaking of maintaining Resto, Well of Radiance will remove restoration effects. Take some time to find your next melee or finisher kill target before you leave a well, or be prepared to throw a healing grenade. But make sure to wait a second after leaving the well to throw it, just so you don't mess yourself up. Find yourself in hot water and all of your abilities are on cooldown? Just get a melee kill and you're healed to over half of your health instantly with Resto ×1 on top of that. If you're not in too tight of a squeeze, you can pepper a nearby enemy with body shots until it's within finisher range to get the same instant healing and Resto ×2. So with a little practice, you can rely entirely on melee and finishers to keep you healed so that all of your abilities and super will be charged when you reach boss damage. But I hear you asking, this must mean that this build relies on specific weapons like so many builds do, or it focuses too much on survivability and it leaves you struggling to obtain kills, right? Not at all. I probably used about half a dozen weapons during my testing, some of which were relatively weak weapons that I was using just to level them. And that was because you are plenty lethal with this build just from a combination of Solar Siphon and Surge mod. But before we talk weapons, let's talk about our subclass choices and mods. I used Incinerator Snap since the amount of healing the build has makes it safe to stay close, so we can lean into maximizing damage. The build in my dim link uses healing grenades as an easy Resto ×2 panic button, but you could sub this for a damage option like Fusion Grenade if you're good about getting finishers to start Resto ×2. You should always try to initiate Resto ×2 from finishers. If you're good about this, you should almost always have 3 survival abilities in emergencies. Try to use Healing Rift first, followed by Healing Grenade, and Well of Radiance, though this should be reserved for damage phases. More advanced players can alternatively use Fusion Grenades if you need more damage than survival. Touch of Flame is a must because Healing Grenades increase restoration from ×1 to ×2, and it causes Fusion Grenades to explode twice. And our second aspect, I used Heat Rises to aid our melee energy regen when getting kills while airborne. even if you're just spamming single jump and hopping along. With our abilities and aspects in mind, we can now decide on our fragments. Ember of Empyrean is a must, as stated earlier, as this turns our resto provided by Karnstein from good to great by allowing our solar weapon kills to extend the restoration provided by Karnstein. Ember of Ashes is also a must, because we'll constantly be scorching targets, so we want to increase the number of scorch stacks when we do. Ember of Searing is another must, as the scorched targets we kill will massively improve our melee regeneration. This also allows us to liberally use our Incinerator Snap to delete groups of enemies instantly. Cure yourself from Karnstein's perk and max out your resto timer. Your final fragment becomes a matter of personal preference. Ember of Torches seems to provide the most benefit by making us radiant when we use our powered melee. But in Season of the Wish, I found I didn't need Ember of Torches because I was constantly triggering radiant from rapid solar weapon precision hits and multi-kills via the seasonal artifact mod Flint Striker. So you may find that Ember of Char is more helpful by causing our ignitions to spread Scorch until the end of Season of the Witch. For stats, you'll want to focus on max resilience. Recovery does very little for us given how much we can heal. I'd focus on strength as a secondary stat, or maybe discipline if you are focusing on fusion grenades. My mod choices are on screen, and feel free to check out the description for more elaboration. That said, the only mods that I'd consider mandatory are solar siphons, or ideally a dual siphon to match our primary weapon, at least one solar surge, a heavy ammo finder, and a solar scavenger. Now, to get the most destruction out of our build, let's look at weapons. This build is so versatile that really any incandescent solar weapon will wreck. Sunshot and Zauli's Bane are excellent choices, but Abyss Defiant from Crota's End raid will really bring out this build's best potential. Abyss Defiant's origin trait causes kills with this weapon to generate Cursed Thrall explosions for 7.5 seconds following a melee kill. This build is very melee focused, and that means we'll be activating devastating AoE firepower on a regular basis. It can also be crafted with Pugilist to further increase our melee ability regen, and of course we'll want Incandescent. So Abyss Defiant is practically made for this build. But what about our heavy and secondary weapons? Top boss DPS can be achieved via bait and switch or surrounded heavy GL or rocket launchers, so you'll unload heavy as quickly as possible in the limited DPS windows. But in my opinion, the best choice for this build is Dragon's Breath Exotic Rocket Launcher. When paired with the right special weapon, Dragon's Breath can help you get awesome damage output, and it also has unreal ammo economy. The trick is to fire a shot, swap to a high DPS special weapon like a controlled burst scatter signal, wait for Dragon's Breath to cause 2 explosions, and it will automatically reload itself and be at maximum fuel and maximum damage. Its projectiles periodically apply Scorch to targets, and causing ignitions will increase its reload rate. So this is another reason why the extra Scorch stacks applied by Ember of Ashes is mandatory for this build. Because Dragon's Breath lays a wave of flames along your firing trajectory, you'll want to make sure you don't step forward after firing. Even if your target is far away, the explosive fuel on the ground will kill you. But the explosive fuel trail can also save your life. It may kill nearby enemies, and so can the explosions emitted from your target. Both of these will refresh your restoration timer and allow you to focus on DPS in damage phases instead of having to focus on staying alive.
Since I know you love life-stealing builds, I know you'll love this Briarbinds build with Devour and Void Souls generating extra grenade energy.
Please subscribe to catch future build videos or share this video with your friends. It all really helps me out a lot. Please let me know what future build videos you'd like to see in the comments below. I'd also love to help by answering any questions, or to hear what critiques you have on this build or what other builds you think would work better. I'm honored that you have taken the time to watch this video. Thank you so much for watching.